We're going to take a look at how we can use an array as an argument. And we know that arguments are the exact same things as parameters. They're used to pass information through methods, and methods are the exact same things as functions. So how can we pass an entire array through a method? We'll start up by creating an array. I'll make the lemon array over here, and I'll put a bunch of values inside of the curly braces over here. I'll put 1 to 9 right there. So I have all these values inside of here. Now, what if we wanted to pass all of these values through a method? And you might be wondering, what exactly can we do with that? Well, say we want to add 10 to each of these values right here to make it 11, 12, 13, 14, up to 19. How can we make sure that that operation is done on every single value in here? We're going to start up by going outside of the main method to create a new method, which is going to be in charge of this. So I'm going to make a markup over here and write start of main. And down here, I'm going to write end of main, just to make sure that we keep track of all of our curly braces, because there's going to be a lot of them. We don't want to get lost. Start of class, and down here I'll write end of class. Now you want to make sure we go outside of the main method, but stay inside of the class when we're designing this new method. So I'm going to write public static void, and you're going to call your method whatever you want to call it. Whoops, I put an extra space here. There we go. You call your method whatever you want to call it. I'll call mine the array method because that's what it's going to be in charge of doing. And we know that if we're going to have arguments, we're going to need to put them inside of these brackets over here. So if I want to pass through some information, I need to list it inside the brackets. If I just wrote integer a, and a would be representing my array, would that work? Well, no, because this is going to be expecting a variable to be passed through. So if you want to make sure that it knows it's time for an array to be passed through, simply put an open and close square braces at the end of whatever you call your argument. In this case, I'm going to be passing through integer a, and then you open and close square braces. So inside of here, now we have our method, right? So go ahead and write start of method, because there are more curly braces coming. Don't you worry. End of method. So inside of here, what can we do to make sure that the operation we want to do, which is adding 10 to each of these values, is done on every single value? Well, so far in the series, we've seen a lot of for loops when we talk about arrays. So how about we go with a for loop, which is going to be able to use its operation on each of these values? We know we need to put 3 pieces of information inside the brackets of our for loop. The first one's going to be the initial value. We'll start the initial value off at 0 whenever we're talking about arrays, because we know that this is not position 1, this is actually position 0. Next, we'll go ahead and write the condition. In this case, I'll write a, which is going to be representing the array that I'm going to be passing through, a.length. And this is going to be whatever array you're passing through here, you're going to take the length of that, and you're going to put x less than that. Sorry, I forgot to put the x. Now here, this means that whatever array I pass through, right, I can't just go ahead and write lemon over here. Although we know that we're going to have 9 values in here, we technically don't know which array we're going to be passing through at the time of writing this. So we want to write it to be able to be used by any array. So in this case, whatever array I pass through will be replaced, or will be replacing the a over here. So in this case, if I end up passing through the lemon array over here, it will end up replacing the a, and that'll be lemon.length, and it will take the length of the lemon array. Too many L's in that sentence. Next, we're going to have our increment operator, so put x++, and now we have our for loop. Now we have to go ahead and put some stuff inside of the for loop. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and write start of for, and down here I'm going to write end of for. And that's it for the curly braces, so we don't have to worry about any of those. I know there's a ton of them, but we're just going to make sure we keep track of everything. So inside of here, what exactly do we want to write? Well, we know that our array is going to be ax, right? Because this means that whatever array we have is going to be a. So if I put the word lemon through here, it's going to be replacing a over here. And this x is going to be the amount of times we pass through the loop. Well, this is going to correspond to the values of our array, because the first time we pass through the loop, we're going to be passing through 0, which is going to be this position here. And we increase by 1 each time we pass through the loop. And eventually we go up to the last position over here, which will be represented by x is less than a dot length. So with this over here, now we want to go ahead and make sure that we add some values. So let's go say we add 10 to each value. Now we learned exactly what this meant in the last video, I think, or 2 videos ago. We learned that when I write ax plus equal to, there we go, is 10, this is the exact same thing as ax is equal to ax plus 10, right? We know the exact same thing, which means you're going to go ahead and add 10 to whatever value you see when you pass through. And we know that ax, say I write ax here, which is the array. I'm not talking about an array when I'm talking about this. I'm talking about a value inside of an array. So whenever you refer to the array anywhere else later on after you've written it up here, you're going to be referring to specific values inside of it. So say I were to go ahead and write a3 or a2, for example, right? That means I'm referring to the 3rd position inside, which is going to be the 3. And this is actually going to be the value 3. And it's not going to be talking about the array, just so we know exactly what's going on, just something for you guys to visualize. So with all that, we have this going, and now we need to go ahead and call upon this inside of our main method. Because remember, the main method is the movie script of our program. If you do not mention that you want this method to be used inside of the main method, it's not going to be used, so you need to mention it. So we're going to go inside of here. I'm going to go ahead and write the array, which is the name of the method we created, and we're going to have to pass through our array. Now we're going to pass through just the word lemon, right? You don't have to put the open and close braces because it already knows that you're expecting that here, right? You're only going to be replacing the A. You're not replacing the open and close braces. So you simply need to write lemon. And this is going to mean that anytime you see the word, or the letter, I should say A, it's actually going to be the letter lemon. So we're going to have the lemon array passed down here. Now that's good, but we're still missing something. We're still missing an output to our screen. So we need to go ahead and make sure that we're outputting what we want to our screen. We'll create an enhanced for loop over here. So go ahead and put the integer y right through here. And I'm going to go ahead and put the colon, and I'm going to write array, which is, I'm going to write lemon, not array. And this is going to allow me to save the values of my lemon array. Each value is going to be stored temporarily inside of y, and we're going to be able to print that out. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how we do that now. So go inside of here, and I'm going to write system out print line, and then I'll put the value y, which is going to allow us to keep printing each value for our array. Now, if I go ahead and run this, what are we going to expect is going to happen? Are we going to see these values up here, or are they going to have the operation that we requested, which was add 10 to each one? Is that going to be completed? We'll go ahead and run this right now, and look what we get. We have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. We successfully added 10 to each value inside of our array. So that's how we can use an array as a argument, right? Which is going to allow us to pass arrays through methods to give that information to the method. So that will allow the method to have access to this array, and it can change the values inside of it and so on. And always remember, you need to make reference to your other methods inside of the main method, right? It's only going to look at your main method over here. It's going to look inside of here, and it's going to say, okay, anything that's not listed here is irrelevant. If it's not being listed inside of here, I really don't care. You don't have to have all of the code written inside of here, and it's not good practice to do so. Just make sure you have your list of things you want to do inside of here. So that's how we use arrays as arguments. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about doing what I showed you in this video, leave a comment below and I will respond to you as soon as possible, and I'll see you guys in the next video.